Okay guys, so for this week I will be covering chapter 4, risk and return of FIN320. Okay, so in this chapter 4, it will always come out in your final exam in question 4A. This will amount to around 10 marks. Okay, in this chapter it is further divided into two parts, the theory parts and the calculation part. Okay, so I will be covering the theory first and then we go into the calculation. Okay, so the first part, the theory part, you will learn about the types of risk. Okay, there are two types of risk. Okay, systematic risk and unsystematic risk. Now if you draw the graph of risk, this graph is how it looks like. Okay, you have risk here and you have time here. So means that, what does this graph mean? It means that the longer the time, the higher the risk. So the risk always increases through time. Okay, then we have two types of risk, systematic and unsystematic risk. Now systematic risks are the risks that you cannot control. It will always be there. Okay, you cannot diversify it, you cannot control it. What you can do is you can prepare for it. So all companies should have a backup plan in case of anything happens that uncontrollable. For example, the current situation that we have now, we have a lockdown, the coronavirus lockdown. So this impaired performance of firms. We cannot go to work, and so the companies cannot do business, so they will shut down production. So this will impair their return. Okay, so this kind of risk, this is uncontrollable risk. Okay, this is related to market risk. So systematic risk further divided into three example: market risk, purchasing power risk, and interest rate risk. So market risk is sometimes we call it as economic risk. Okay, so right now we have this virus outbreak, so this is considered as an economic crisis that can cause economic crisis. So this is a market risk, okay, or economic risk. So purchasing power risk relates to inflation where the price of goods is getting more expensive, so means the value of currency is declining. Okay, that is purchasing power risk. And last one is interest rate risk. So interest rate risk happens when interest rate is getting higher, so it means that borrowing becomes more expensive. So usually this happens during inflation. When there is too much inflation in the economy, the borrowing will become more expensive. Okay, usually banks, central bank do this, impose higher interest rate to slow down the economy during inflationary period. Alright, so these three you already learned. Part of it you already learned in business operations, banking operations, in third semester, right? Okay, so whatever it is, just refer back to your old notes and you will be fine. So next one is unsystematic risk. Now unsystematic risks are the risks that you can control. The firm can control this risk. How? Usually this risk is related to the business, like business risk or operation risk, and also financial risk. So for example, operation risk, how do you increase operations? How do you increase performance? You hire good people, you hire educated people, you hire reliable people into your organization, and they can keep your business afloat. And for financial risk, it depends on your financial manager. How do they control the financial risk? Where do they borrow money? How do they utilize their financial resources? So all of this is related to financial risk. So that's why I say that these two risks are controllable. It is controllable through the act of the companies and how they manage their resources and also their workers. Alright. So now, if you look at the graph just now, you notice that the graph never reaches zero. It never starts from this point. It is not like that. Okay? It starts somewhere in the middle, here. what does this mean? It means that you have two parts of the graph. One is this part, and another one is this part. Okay, so here, this region, the blue region, okay, this is your systematic risk. No matter what you do, it will always be there. This region, you cannot diversify it, you cannot minimize it, it will always be there. But for the unsystematic risk is this red region. This red region can be minimized, can be controlled through diversification. Okay, so this is the theory in risk and return chapter. So what you need to know is you need to know what is systematic risk and what is unsystematic risk and what are the examples of the risk. So please make sure you are able to explain what is market risk, what is purchasing power risk, what is interest rate risk, what is business risk, what is financial risk. Okay, this graph you just need to understand it, you just need to know. It's never come out in the final exam previously. Okay, so this is the theory part. Thank you. Okay guys, so now we are going into the calculation part of chapter 4, right? So in chapter 4, bear in mind that chapter 4, the calculation is standalone, means that it is not related to any other chapter. It's not like chapter 3 where the calculation is related to chapter 2, right? But this one is a standalone question, standalone calculation. It is not related to any other chapter. So in this chapter, there is 4 formulas that you need to remember: expected return, variance, standard deviation, and coefficient of variation. Okay, 4 formulas. So for expected return is how to calculate it. Expected return equals to probability times the annual return. For variance, it's probability times with annual return minus expected returns power of 2. Please be reminded about this. Okay, usually students left that out, so once you left it out, then the whole calculation will be wrong. Because if you notice, expected return, you need the annual return, right? And then in variance, you are using the expected return. So the calculation of variance is dependent on the expected return. So if you wrongly calculate, and then standard deviation is power square root of variance. So if you make a mistake here, then automatically your standard deviation will be wrong too. So once your standard deviation is wrong, you are using the standard deviation to calculate the coefficient of variation. So now if from the top is wrong, then everything will be wrong. Okay, so please be reminded, please look at the formula carefully and then apply the formula accordingly. Okay, to avoid any mistakes. Slowly calculate and inshallah you will be fine. Okay guys, I will guide you on how to calculate question. So I pick December 2009, question 4A. Alright, now if you refer to the question, question 4, right? Okay, if you refer to the question, it says here, Lotus Development Berhad has to decide on one of the 2 construction projects available. The information on both projects are as follow. So you have apartment and condominium. One during recession, one during normal, one during boom. So this is the condition or the probability, right? expected return is given, right? So in this, the question for risk and return chapter, it will always have the same storyline, where the company have two projects and they need to pick one or the other. Okay, so in this case, they need to pick the one with the lowest risk. Okay, so in this question, the Lotus Development Berhad have to choose between apartment or condominium. Okay, so we look at apartment first because the calculation is the same for apartment and condominium. So if you know how to calculate the apartment, then automatically you know how to calculate the condominium. So I will show you how to calculate the condominium and the apartment, and for the condominium you do it yourself at home. Okay, so for apartment, the probability during recession time is 0.4, the normal time is 0.25, the boom is 0.35, the probability, and then the return is 10, 11 and 13. So to calculate expected return, the formula is the probability times the annual return. So this is the annual return, right? So probability times return, probability times return, probability times return, you get 4, 2.75, 4.55, and then you sum it up. Okay, you sum it up. Okay, and then next part is you calculate the variance. Okay, so 0.4, this is the probability. Okay, the probability, and now it's the return minus the expected return. Return minus expected return, power of 2. So solve this first and then times with 0.4. So it's the same for the other probability. So 11 minus expected return, 11 minus 11.3, 13 minus 11.3, power of 2, and then times with the respective probability. Then you will get 0.7, 0.676, 0.023, 1.012, and sum it up, you will get 1.711. Alright, so this is your variance. Now, to calculate standard deviation of apartment, you square root the variance. You square root the variance, 1.71 square root, you get 1.31. Okay, now to calculate the coefficient of variation of apartment, it's standard deviation divided by expected return. So 1.31 divided by 11.3, you get 0.12. Okay, so this is the process. It's the same every semester. So if you know how to do this, then you will be able to calculate for condominium. Okay, and then after you have calculated it, you compare the CV, coefficient of variation, or the SD, standard deviation. Now, which one to choose? Usually this question will ask you which project should the company choose, which machine should the company choose, so which one provide lower risk. Okay, so how do you know this? You see the figure of standard deviation and also coefficient of variation. Okay, choose the one that is lowest. The lower standard deviation and coefficient of variation signify a lower risk. So if you compare later, if you compare apartment and condominium, pick the one with the lesser number, the smaller number. The smaller number means a lesser risk. So you can conclude the answer by saying that Lotus Development Berhad must choose apartment or condominium because it has how much SD, how much CV, and this signify that the project have a lower risk. Okay, so understood? So in this case, the answer is apartment. Okay, so in this case, Lotus Development Berhad must choose apartment project because it provides a lower risk of 1.31 standard deviation and 0.12 coefficient of variation, which is lower than condominiums SD and CV. Okay, so with that we are done with chapter 4. So what is important is systematic explanation, definition of systematic risk and unsystematic risk, and then the calculation part. The calculation part is the same every semester. They will ask you to calculate expected return, variance, standard deviation, and coefficient of variation. Okay, so this will amount to 10 marks. So I will give you tutorial to do, and you will need to submit it through online. Okay, so please do December 2018 and also June 2018. Okay, and submit it by the end of next week. No, the end of this week, right? Let me check. Okay, please submit it by 27th of March before 12 p.m. Okay, so do this and submit to me through my email. Snap a picture of it, scan it, make a PDF file, and then email me these two workings to my email address. Okay, so with that I thank you. So we have covered chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. We are done. So only left with your test 1. So hopefully when we come back from this situation, you are ready for your test 1. With that, I thank you.